What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Cinema Trip Reviews. This week on the show, I am going to be reviewing Half Baked with none other than the dumpster duo themselves, Sean and Joe from Movie Dumpster. How you guys doing?
Good, man. What's cooking?
Doing pretty good.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, we are doing kind of like a double feature here this week for 420. I
Yeah.
was on your guys' show talking about Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams, and you guys are here talking about Dave Chappelle's Half Baked, which is,
Yeah.
they are stoner comedies, but there are two separate movies entirely.
Oh yeah.
Big time.
I mean, you guys have been on the show before. We talked about Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke. For anybody who hasn't seen that one, definitely go check that one out. That seems like it's going to be something that we're going to be doing here for a while as far as talking about Cheech and Chong movies for the foreseeable future, each 420 or so. So that may be a reoccurring thing.
Make
but
it
we
a
are
tradition on each other's shows, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So today we are talking about none other than Half Baked from 1998, which is crazy. For some reason I thought this was out in like the early 2000s, but man, 90s.
I sure watched it a lot in the 2000s for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was trying to pinpoint when this came out without looking it up. I was definitely either in middle school or like early high school, because this was one that I was like, "Oh, you weren't supposed to watch this one because it's about weed." Oh no,
Yeah.
you catch it on. It was on Comedy Central constantly though, so it's like, how could you miss it? You had to try to miss
Exactly.
it.
And it's funny because even though it was on Comedy Central all the time, I remember specifically being, I think it was like middle school maybe, but my brother used to have like burned movies in like an old CD case and stuff. And I remember Half Baked being in one of them. And I just knew who Dave Chappelle was because I was a fan of the Chappelle Show and everything, which we will talk about in a little bit. But I remember watching that and being just blown away, even though I didn't know anything about weed or I wasn't smoking or anything at that time. It was still just as hilarious as it is now.
Absolutely. And it's the
Almost.
same thing for me too. Like you didn't get half the jokes because it was like, oh, I didn't smoke weed at the time when I saw this,
Mhm.
but I watched it a hell of a lot as I got older and started smoking weed, and it
Yeah,
became
like
like tradition.
you get more of the jokes. We even talked about that over on Movie Dumpster for Nice Dreams,
Yeah.
and over here when we did Up in Smoke with you,
Mhm.
Wyatt. But like these stoner comedies, there's a reason why they work. Like, they're funny, or two stoners, but they're just funny. Like I think of like Harold and Kumar. Or even
Mhm.
Idle Hands. It's just like,
Yeah.
some people are differing opinions on those movies, but you get what I'm saying. They're just funny movies. You don't need to toke to necessarily get it. You just get some
No.
extra laughs if you do.
Yeah, same with like Jay and Silent Bob or the
Yeah.
View Askew universe and stuff.
Exactly.
Pineapple Express was one we were talking about too, and that movie's
Oh,
still
Yeah.
fucking hilarious. Yeah.
So this movie was written by Dave Chappelle and Neil Brennan. Neil Brennan, who was also partners with Dave Chappelle. I believe they wrote some comedy stuff together, but they also famously did Chappelle Show together. Neil Brennan was like one of the main writers with Chappelle on the Chappelle Show, which lasted like 2 seasons, two and a half, I guess, if you want to count the third one, which is like the lost episodes type thing. But I was in the Chappelle Show way before I even saw Half Baked, and I mean, they do have similar sense of like humor in a way, but I feel like Chappelle Show, even though it was on Comedy Central, I feel like they went way further as far as like what they were able to get away with, even though it was on Comedy Central compared to Half Baked.
the closest thing
100%.
that Half Baked reminds me of Chappelle is when he's doing the character, like the Eddie Murphy shit, when he's in makeup as like that the
Yeah.
one guy who's buying all the weed later. Like that's very Chappelle
Smoke a
Show.
lot, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And some of the
He's getting
one
his
off.
feet wet with this, right,
Yeah, yeah, and
yeah,
like some of the jokes when he's talking about the different buyers of their product, like that feels like Chappelle Show. But yeah, I see what you're
yeah.
saying, Wyatt.
Yeah, it's like little skits kind of that were like the early beginnings of Chappelle Show were
Yeah.
in here a little bit. Now this was directed by Tamara Davis. She directed CB4, the Chris Rock movie in from the
Oh, no shit, I
90s.
didn't know that.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
directed CB4. She also directed Billy Madison with Adam Sandler in the 90s, and she
Okay.
directed a shit ton of music videos throughout
Wow.
like the late 80s and through the 90s and early 2000s as well. But those are some pretty heavy hitters. I mean, CB4 was always on Comedy Central. I've only seen it a couple
Mhm.
times, but Billy Madison, man, I've seen it too many times that I could count probably at this point.
We were out some dude was wearing a CB4 hat. We were just at, Neshaminy Creek for, the, Crypt Video Wrestling, and some dude was wearing a CB4 hat, and I was like, "Holy shit." I was like,
Just instant
other people have seen
nostalgia.
this.
Dave Chappelle plays Thurgood Jenkins in the movie. You also have Guillermo Diaz as Scarface. I haven't really seen him in too many things other than the show Weeds. He was a reoccurring character on Weeds
Oh
at one point.
yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
only
He's
know him
funny
from
as
this.
hell in this.
Yeah, and I mean Chappelle, he was a I wouldn't say he was a huge name at this time that it was came out. He was definitely making his way in the comedy stand-up comedy world and everything. He had some movie roles here and there, like Robin Hood, Men in Tights.
Yeah.
He was in like The Nutty Professor
Got you.
as
Yeah.
he was the one roasting everybody at the
Reggie.
club.
Oh God, gets thrown on the piano, right?
But he had some like tiny little movie roles here and there. But yeah, this was like his first, probably his only, right? I don't know if he was really in any other like big movies, was he?
I don't think so. This might be his first starring role, if
Yeah.
that's yeah.
I definitely think he did some stuff that was more like documentary style, like kind of stuff, like in the 2000s. But yeah, this is like the one that always jumps out of is like his main starring Dave Chappelle movie.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, he came
'Cause
out with
I always
this.
remember him from Robin Hood, yeah.
Yeah, Robin
Yeah,
Hood, and then he had
same.
Chappelle Show, and then he disappeared for the longest time after Chappelle
Yeah.
Show and everything, and then he came
Mhm.
back and now just making that Netflix money with those stand-up specials and everything.
Yeah.
Pumping him
I haven't
out.
seen his, like, return to stuff because 'cause he's been, yeah, I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, his stuff is funny, but he's definitely grown out of some of the stuff that he used to do back in the late
Yeah.
'90s, early 2000s, as far as that comedic stuff. I mean, you have some of that here and there if he is on SNL at certain points. You have some of those recurring Chappelle characters or everything, but it's mainly just stand-up at this point. Same
Yeah,
with
and I
Jim
mean,
Brewer. Oh,
oh
go
yeah,
ahead, John. Sorry.
exactly. Well, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, the thing with Chappelle, obviously, without just diving into that, is he's always been controversial, but I think the
Yeah.
controversies in him lately, without getting into him, not exactly paint him in the best light to all people.
Mm.
But you know that's a whole different thing than this movie. Same with Jim Brower. Actually, he's funny as
Yeah.
hell in this, but I kind of avoid the guy. But that's a whole different conversation. It's just kind of
Controversial in a
interesting.
different way. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
Not because you're smoking weed or you gave too much
Yeah.
candy to a horse. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Mentioned Jim Brewer. He plays Brian in the movie. He is a stand-up comedian. He is in other things as well, here and there, just like little bit parts or like TV or movies here and there. But I'm not really a huge fan of Jim Brewer. It's just not my type of comedy. But
I used to watch his stand-up, as a kid, and, like, the only one I really remember sticking out of my head is where he's, talking about looking stoned all the time, and, the story he has about the boogeyman, like, when he's driving down a
oh yeah,
fucking dark road.
back
I
in the
don't know if
day,
yeah,
you've ever seen
'90s
that
stuff,
I think
stand-up.
I
right?
remember
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
Yeah, he had pretty
It
good
was around the
stand up
same
back
time.
in the day, and he's funny.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's funny as hell in this. This is like the movie again, the movie I remember him from. This character.
He was
Yeah.
born to play yeah.
Oh, 100%. He plays it
Mm.
perfectly. He's the perfect stereotypical stoner in this movie, I
Yeah.
would say. And for those who may not remember, Chappelle and Jim Brewer both appeared as a tiny little cameo in Home Improvement back in the '90s as well. They
Holy
were on
shit,
one
don't
episode
remember
of Home
that.
Improvement. They were on Tool Time, going after their wives, roasting their wives on Tool Time with Tim Allen. Uh,
Oh yeah, when they would do that
Fucking weird,
sometimes.
man.
it was very weird.
The I hate my wife humor, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it
Yeah.
was.
The old
And then
ball and chain, am I right, fellas?
Yeah, me and my fiance were watching Home Improvement like a year or so ago. We were watching through the whole series. I was like, "Holy shit, Dave Chappelle is in an episode." It's like watching the Cosby Show from back in the day and seeing Adam Sandler at certain points. It's so
That must
weird.
have been, like, at the ass end, huh, of
Yeah,
Home Improvement?
yeah, it was
Yeah,
towards the back at later seasons of it.
yeah.
A lot of sitcoms from the '90s. That's like our generation. You see those people like just because you mention it, like Sabrina the Teenage Witch has a lot of that guy or that gal in it because it was so
Yeah,
popular. It's just
Oh,
fun
yeah.
to see.
definitely. And we also have another comedian in the movie as well, Harlan Williams. Even though he's not in it nearly as much as the other three that we're going to be talking about through the movie, he plays Kenny, the one that ends up going to jail. But I actually do like Harlan Williams.
Me too.
He actually kind of made a recent comeback as far as stand up and doing his podcast and stuff, and
Did
he's
he
pretty
really?
hilarious still.
I'd like to see the stand-up. I always remember him from, Dumb and Dumber and, the ICP movie, Big Money Hustlers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Can't say I've seen that one, but I
Dude,
love Dumb and Dumber.
I know him
I
from
if
Rocket
you could
Man.
if you
Yeah,
Rocket Man, yeah. If you could stand ICP, I personally like them. I think they're funny, but, like, it's Harlan Williams and, like, Johnny Brennan from the Jerky Boys opposite each other.
okay,
One plays a
yeah.
police chief and Harlan Williams plays a cop. It's pretty fucking funny, man.
Rocket Man is one I always think of when it comes to Harlan Williams, and of course Dumb and Dumber. It's like, get the hell out of here! You guys
Yeah.
sipping on old
Suck
grandpa's
sucking on
cough
grandpa's
syrup?
cough syrup, cough medicine, yeah.
The pull over. No, it's a cardigan, but thanks for noticing.
Who knows?
Talk
Good
about a
shit.
funny movie.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, it's one of my favorites of all time. You have also Rachel True in this, who plays Mary Jane, of course. Perfect name for this type of movie.
God, she's so beautiful. Still so beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Huge
I don't,
crush on her.
I haven't seen her in too many things. I know she does a lot of TV work, but she was in like The Craft
Yeah, The
in like the
Craft.
90s. That's probably one of their most notable movies and everything. But also you have Tommy Chong in here, which we talked about on Up in Smoke and also on the
Romaster.
Nice Dreams review. He's always great to have a cameo. And I mean, other than Cheech and Chong, I love him in like That 70s Show as Leo, his recurring character, which is
He's
pretty
pretty
much
funny.
Chong.
He's in Color Out of Space again, kind of a Chong character, a little bit even wackier than his typical affair, but
Yeah, definitely. Because he's not
Yeah,
playing
that was
like
a
the
weird one.
stereotypical stoner in this one.
well, in this, yeah. But I mean, in Color Out of Space, he's really
Oh,
out there, and
yeah.
then shit hits the meteor hits the ground, I should say.
But you also have Clarence Williams III, who plays Samson
So good.
Simpson in this one, and he is pretty big character actor throughout the years. He's been
Yeah.
in a ton of TV shows, ton of different movies, and like he's that guy. We were talking
Yeah.
about. He's like, oh, I know that guy from somewhere.
You've seen him. Tales from the Hood specifically for me growing up
Yeah, Tales from
was
the
that,
Hood.
this, and that. I'm like, oh, that's the guy from Tales from the Hood.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he has little bits parts in a ton of different shows. Like we
Yeah.
recently watched Twin Peaks. He's like one of the detectives that comes and like investigates Dale Cooper because of the whole
Right.
Canada situation and everything. You have so many cameos in this movie that I'm surprised they were able to fit them all in. But with the way that it's kind of sketched out, like little skits, it makes perfect sense for what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
Among names, you have like Jon Stewart, yes, which is when Jon Stewart was doing acting still at that point, I
Yeah.
guess, here and there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pete.
He's in this, and Big Daddy, I think, is around this
Big
time.
Daddy, yeah, exactly.
He's the titular.
And Stephen Baldwin, and I remember seeing like a funny ass video of Stephen Baldwin just talking about like, yeah, they want you to just be like in this stoner movie for like a couple minutes. He's like, well, okay, I guess I'll do it, and
I
they just
did Biodome, so I guess I'll do this.
Yeah, I saw that too. Why? Yeah, him talking about it. Yeah,
he's like, you just want me to come in here and just act like I'm MacGyver, like a stoner MacGyver or whatever. Okay, that's fine.
fixing a car
Willie
or
Nelson's
something.
in here.
Willie Nelson, which I mean, if you're doing like a 420 or like a stoner movie, you're gonna have Willie Nelson in there as a cameo at some point.
And
And
Snoop
Snoop, dude.
Dogg.
Yeah.
And Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg's probably one of my favorites. And he's like, man, I just quit smoking yesterday.
The moocher.
You know, we do sell this.
You have Tracy Morgan, who's like the MC on the TV, who's introduced like the music video. Sure, smoke a lot.
Yeah.
And Stephen Wright, the comedian, he's the guy on the couch.
Oh
Famously.
yeah. Who's just like a pillow and some pants at one point, I guess, to save some money.
That doesn't surprise me. You have Janine Garofalo in here making a ton of cameos. I mean, she was big in the 90s as well. One of my favorites with her in is Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
I like
funny as hell
Mystery
in Romy
Men.
and Michelle too.
Oh yeah, and Mystery Men too.
Yeah, with the bowling ball.
Yeah, the bowling with the skull in it and everything.
Yeah, her dad's skull.
And famously, one that probably gets memed a lot is the Bob Saget one.
Yeah.
I used to suck dick for coke. Like, boo this man.
Ooh, this man.
I forgot that was in this, and when it popped up, I was like, "Oh my god, this classic scene!"
So this movie was shot in Toronto, not New York, even though this movie is set in New York, which I mean a lot of places do. I mean we actually just talked about a couple months ago with Jason Takes Manhattan and everything. They shot that in Canada, not New York. Unless I mean they did a couple scenes here and there, like Times Square. Here
it was
they
Times
shot specifically where they needed to. If they needed any New York scenes, they did. They had an original ending that got cut, which I think would have been a lot better. We'll get to that whenever we get towards the end of the movie. But I think it's a lot funnier than what they ended up doing, unfortunately.
I had no idea.
But unfortunately, that is due to a lot of the studio interference. From what I understand, Dave Chappelle and even Neil Brennan weren't super happy with the way the movie turned out just because they weren't able to do exactly what they wanted to do. A lot of studio interference, wanting them to change certain things. They almost had to change the beginning of the movie because the studios didn't want kids smoking weed at the beginning of the movie or in general. But I guess test audiences loved it so much they had to keep it in there.
That's the joke. Like,
Yeah,
that's the joke.
Memory
You're growing
lane.
up and you're 15 years old or you're 16 and you the first time I smoked weed. That's like the basis of this whole fucking movie.
Exactly. And pretty much all the weed in it was just like a tobacco substitute, except for Snoop Dogg scene. Apparently Snoop Dogg brought his own weed onto set, and the director was just like not comfortable with it whatsoever, and was afraid they were gonna get in trouble. But Snoop didn't care, of course. It's Snoop Dogg. So we'll get right into the beginning here. It does, as you mentioned, Sean, it goes back to Memory Lane, specifically right on Memory Lane. and they're
Yeah,
telling
yeah,
the
yeah.
story about how they all started smoking weed, and it's just hilarity ensues. You have everybody that they get smoked, they go into the convenience store, and they're all, oh, we don't feel it yet. Oh, I'm feeling something. And like, one of my favorites is the
Giant
comic
fucking
book
Abba
one.
Zaba.
Oh my god, the giant Abbas he's chewing
Yeah.
on, and then he's reading the. I think Scarface is reading the comic book, and the superheroes beside him. He's feeling it. Kenny crawls out of the slushy machine out of the top, and it's
Oh
full of
God,
slushy for some reason, like the actual cup.
like Ed from Good Burger does that.
They just talk about how from that point on it changed their lives. You know, they're stoners from then on, and you get to see what they're up to today. And Thurgood Jenkins is, I forget what he exactly calls himself, but I mean,
Custodial engineer.
yeah, custodial
Or a master of
engineer,
the custodial arts, excuse me.
or a
Right.
janitor if you want to be a dick about it.
If you want to be a dick.
I love
S-
Scarface though at the fast food restaurant. Just the guy's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, you're going a little long on that order," and he's like, "Can you just fucking turn around?"
I'm right here, B.
Still waiting on that heifer, Julio.
Brian, the main stoner, the real stoner out of them all, the stereotypical
Yeah.
one. He's one that works at the record shop, which is probably like not only the perfect job for a stoner, like they say in the movie, but I would love that job if I can get a job at a record store. That'd be amazing. Just talk about music all day and everything.
Hang out with Anna Silverman.
Kenny, who is somehow a kindergarten teacher or a first grade teacher.
It's very emotional.
He's very emotional. He's like, I love you so much. I love all of you.
The kids like him though. It's a little creepy, but that's kind of the joke, right?
Yeah, I mean, especially nowadays with how the
Oh,
society is. I mean, back then I didn't think much of it, but watching it now, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird.
It's got it, yeah.
He is wholesome, but they do play it up a little for last when he's hugging the little girl and everything.
Yeah, it doesn't.
He's
They
just
don't do
about
it in a creepy
crying.
way about it. Yeah,
Because Thurgood's like, oh, he makes the kids feel good about themselves. Like, oh, that's such a great painting or whatever.
but you get to see kind of what their day to day life is. They come home from work, get a new bag of stuff from the delivery guy. They talk about how in New York City you can just order out and get some to be delivered on a bike, or you can go to like one of these like little shops, but you have to
Bodega.
make it bodega, but you have to really make it known that
Black
they've seen you.
ass.
They never remember who you are, so you have to do something outrageous.
Right, yeah, he pulls out his pants. Right, that's how they know.
Yeah. Why didn't you
Uh,
moon us before? He's
It's like the crummiest bodega ever, too. He's like, everything's expired. There's dust on the shelves. It's like, that's where you want to go.
Yeah,
That's
there's
how you
the best
know.
place. He has the we delivered. It looks like it's like a message carrier or whatever. Rides his bike up there and everything. And I like how he kind of breaks the fourth wall at certain times, talking to the camera and everything.
Yeah.
He's like, secret code. Come on in.
Because he's also narrating the whole thing too, which is kind of fun.
Yeah,
Well,
I
you'd
do
see-
like though that it is kind of just told from his perspective because when stuff is like a little extra weird in a little bit, you're like, did that actually happen, or is this just his
Yeah.
recollection of it? You don't overthink it. That's not the point.
Is he an
but-
unreliable
Which is-
narrator?
Yeah, yeah.
Which is funny because he does it right in the beginning. He's like, Old Man Jenkins was there too. Wait a second,
Oh.
I didn't even know the motherfucking name
Yeah.
Old Man
What the
Jenkins.
hell is that?
Right,
Don't
right.
talk about that. Yeah.
Get out of here.
But you see their ritual after work or whatever they scoop, they break out old Billy Bong Thornton, the
Oh,
big
yeah,
ass
man.
hookah they pull out, and they all start smoking. And then they have to figure out who's going out for munchies.
Yeah.
Which, man, I would hate that job, especially if you got Brian out here telling you 30 different things that you need.
Oh
We
God,
always
he's like,
had 'em,
that's it.
dude. We always prepared before that. Like we
Yeah.
got all the shit and then we smoked. Then everybody sat down and kicked it and played video games and ate whatever we got from
Yeah,
like
that way you don't have
7-Eleven
to
or
go
Wawa
anywhere.
or
You could
whatever.
just mellow, just chill out, man.
Yeah.
That's the
Instead
way
of-
to do it. But when you've been smoking for a long time, sometimes you just forget. You're so excited to rip that fucker. You're like, shit, I blasted out of my mind, and I don't have any Pringles. So I guess I mean now there's so many convenience stores, but in '98, like, outside of those bodegas and 7-Eleven, what else was there? Honestly,
I miss like sitting with everybody at like the little table in my buddy's basement and like getting all comfy and ready to fucking hit the bong.
Yeah. Yeah. Back whenever I was really smoking in high school, we would like hang out after school and we would play Parcheesi pretty much every day. We would just play Parcheesi
really?
and smoke. Yeah, and just listen to music and
awesome.
play Parcheesi almost every day. Just
would
around like this
play-
little
we would-
table.
we would as soon as we got off school, we'd roll a fucking fat boy and just sit down, toke it up, and just play music or just hang out and play video games and shit. It was
Yeah.
good, man. I was reminiscing about that today, or watch Half Baked. There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, you don't have somebody saying, "Yeah, we need box of crunch berries, 2 pizzas,
No.
water. Gotta get the water. Can't forget the water."
These are grown
Onions.
ass men living in a fucking shitty New York apartment, barely getting by, and they're like,
Oh.
"Yep, my main goal is to get high and eat junk food all day."
I just thinking
Except
about how
Thurgood.
expensive that junk food would be in today's standards. Back then, that was like
Seriously.
$20. Now it's like 100 easy.
Thurgood, he wants that stuff they used to eat back in the day. What was it? Pussy.
Pussy.
He's like,
Yeah.
"You got it, man." Ends up leaving.
Uh, how he bags Mary Jane, I'll never understand, but okay.
Unreliable
He doesn't
narrator.
have much game. He tries. I give him that. He tries, but he doesn't have much game.
Also, it's kind of funny. I mean, eventually you're going to be the last straw pulled, but the guy who actually has something to lose is the one that has to go get the food. Everyone else is like at this shithole job they don't care about. It's just kind of an added funny detail.
I like how
Yeah,
like
he's
you
definitely
could tell how
carrying it.
scared like Thurgood is as soon as they say you got to get the munchies or whatever. He's like, "Not me. I did it 2 days ago.
Not me.
Not me.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't do it." But you have Harlan Williams who's out here carrying like looking like a Jim Carrey from Dumb and Dumber, going back to that where he's
Yeah.
carrying the bare essentials, the beer and all the stuff. He's just missing the cowboy hat and stuff. But
Big
this is
bulbs, huh?
nice. Well, see you later. But this is probably one of my favorite jokes in the movie is whenever he's walking out of that store and he sees the horse and he's like, "Oh, you hungry, big fella?" And that girl walks past him. She's like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, dude, it's such a good gag. Such a good gag.
Hey, girl. You hungry?
Fuck you, nigga.
But he's like so fucking high, he just doesn't even think about it. He just like literally feeds this
Oh,
horse every
Popping
snack.
in a horse.
I don't know how that
With some
horse
popcorn
ate
because it pop
everything.
pops in your mouth.
The pizzas, yeah.
Fucking Pennywise.
And yeah, unfortunately the horse croaks and the cop is so upset. He is crying. He's like, "I'm sorry." What was his name? Like Butterscotch or butter
Buttercup.
Buttercup. And he's like, "Butternuts, it's Buttercup."
You're under
I love
arrest for being a cop killer. He's like, what? It was a diabetic.
Idiot, this horse is a diabetic.
Meanwhile, what was the cop doing for the 40 minutes he fed this fucker? Just standing off writing a
Right.
ticket, I think.
It had to take a while for him to feed all that
Yeah.
food to that horse. You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, they put him in the lineup, let the bright light shine and everything, put him in the old Stony Lonesome.
I love when they're like shaking him and shit. And he's like, "You got problems, kid," and he's like I don't know. The whole thing when he's getting incarcerated is hilarious.
Yeah, just like the way that that's shot too, like the close-up
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
angles, the
Mhm.
skewed angles and everything was amazing. Just
Yeah.
gives you that anxiety that he's probably feeling.
Yeah. Mhm.
Plus, he's
But
high
also
as
has, like,
hell.
this weird
Oh yeah,
fun
true.
house aesthetic to
he's high as hell. Doesn't know
Yeah.
what's going on. He's probably scared. So the guys, they have to raise the money to get him out. They go and visit him, and that
$1 million.
yeah,
$250,000
$1 million in 1998. Well, I guess he is a cop killer though. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
so, and that's another one of my favorite jokes too. He's like, "Well, how long do you think you could last until we get the money?" He's like, "Maybe about 6:30." He's like, "Man, you gotta hold out longer than that, please."
Yeah.
Nasty
So-
Nate's gonna get him, dude.
Oh my gosh, nasty Nate. We'll get into that guy here. So they have to figure out how to raise money to get him out of jail. And he brings up the idea of like, what was it? Just selling the weed that he has at his work because he goes to work and the one scientist gives him like the prescription to go and get the stuff. And he
He
finds
has
out
no
that it's
idea what it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the guy rips it open. And I like how the dude, like, because he did him a favor, did him a solid, he just hands him this huge honking
Here you
handful.
go.
Yeah,
And
a little
while he's
quarter.
talking, he's like slowly stealing more out of the bag.
I love when the lady puts the fucking pound of weed on the thing and he's like coming in his pants and he's like
Yeah.
signing the thing.
Oh,
It's hilarious.
Has no
I can
idea he
just
works
take
at a
this.
medical marijuana facility. Has no fucking clue.
Well,
None
it's an
whatsoever.
extension of it. Yeah. Frankincense and burr.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's the name of it. Yeah.
Scarface gives him the idea to sell the weed that they get from that place. He just has to steal it. And he's like, "Nah, we can't do that, man. That's stealing. That's not, we got to go a different route with it." And they brainstorm for like, it seems like 2 days at that point. And then Scarface just brings up the same exact idea again.
Well, there's two.
I love when they're like, "Oh man, I got some weed from work today." He's like, "You want to smoke?" And they're like, "Nah, man, I don't feel like smoking. I'm thinking about Kenny." And he's like, "Yeah, So y'all want to smoke? And they're like, all right, yeah,
All
let's
right,
do
yeah,
it.
get it out, bust it out. Like, we can't break out Billy Bong Thornton unless we're all here. Get
Wesley Pipes,
out
man.
Wesley Pipes, man.
Oh god, it's like Gandalf pipe, and then
Yeah.
they fucking smoke this, and they're literally floating in the air. And even the guy in the couch like, give him some. He's floating like Dana Barrett in Ghostbusters.
I like how he just gives him like a thumbs up behind the back.
Yeah.
Too.
They're all coughing their asses off. And they're like, holy shit, man, we haven't seen you cough like that since you were a kid.
Oh, Mary Jane, by the way, when they're leaving Harlan Williams at jail,
Yes.
when they go to visit him,
Yeah,
they
that's when they
bump
meet.
into her.
Yeah, and her dad's in prison for being a dealer, and it ruined his life. And I have no clue how she doesn't know that these guys don't smoke weed whatsoever.
They said it in front of her like 9 times.
Well, yeah, but I
her
mean,
just
even
like,
just like, looking at him, especially Brian.
Oh god, yeah.
Like, come on, man.
Oh, they're all going, you want a Coke, man, before we go to work?
Yeah, come on. Can we toke in
like-
your car?
No.
Yeah, she takes him to his job, and like they're like sleeping in the back seat while he's trying to get her number, and they
Oh
keep
my
like
Trying
making
to
fun
make
of
his
him.
move.
Oh, you want to
Yeah,
go
he-
out for ice cream? Ah, ice
Motherfucker
cream.
said ice cream. Jim Brewer's doing the fucking thing. That's such a good bit.
He does get her number, or give her
Yeah.
his number.
Yeah, and he's waiting to hear from her. But yeah, that's when they end up smoking. They end up pretty much getting as higher than they ever been. They end up flying around the city. He's like, I tell you, this was the shit.
Oh god, they go to the jail. They're like looking at Harlan Williams. He's like praying. He's like, oh, my butthole needs to be protected.
He's like, you're a man. You're a Homo sapien. Did I say homo?
Homo-
I didn't mean.
Homo erectus. Or
Yeah,
no,
Homo erectus.
Did I say homo? I didn't say that.
Like, man, we really got to get him out of there.
Yeah. The whole
Oh my
the whole
gosh.
catharsis of this movie is that he's not deflowered. Harlan Williams is not deflowered by Nasty Nate.
Right.
And that's where Tommy Chong comes in to save the day because Nasty Nate wants his fruit cup at lunch.
Wants
That
cocktail fruit.
his fruit cocktail. That's what it was. He's like, I want your cocktail fruit.
If I give it to you every day, then I won't get it, and I won't get big and strong and defend myself. And he's like, you know
Need
who
my
the fuck I
vitamins.
am?
Yeah, I don't give all my nutrients and vitamins.
Tommy Chong, like a karate master, fucking comes in from off screen, throwing
Yes.
hands.
Squirrel Master.
Squirrel master.
Squirrel
He
master.
looked like he wearing tight like
Got
a
a little
gi,
squirrel
like a,
in his pocket.
yeah. Has his prison uni kind of looking like a gi a little bit.
Yeah, he's got the black belt.
He's my bitch. I'm somebody's bitch.
You hear that? I'm somebody's bitch.
He's like cracking his knuckles, like, you'll see. And then, well, it might be a little bit later. I don't mean to jump the gun, but he's like, he thinks he's all safe. And then Tommy Chong's like, well, I'm only in here for 11 more days, and then I'm out of here. He's like, what? 11 days? It's like, yeah, sorry.
And I don't think
He's
it
begging
goes.
the guys.
It
Yeah.
doesn't really go anywhere from there until they just get him out after they make the deal with the
Yeah.
cops and everything. Right after he becomes Squirrel Man's bitch, that's whenever Mary Jane ends up calling Thurgood up and wanting to go out on a date, even though she was kind of hesitant about it at first. So he only has like $8 on him to take Mary Jane on a date. So he takes her for like a
I love
walk
this
around
scene.
New York. And yeah, I do too, because it just has like the money counter.
Counter.
This is like the Chappelle Show. This is like another one that I could see him doing as a sketch.
Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, he ends up having to get her like a hot dog. He doesn't get anything for himself. He's like, yeah, you get a hot dog. And then the guy's like, well, you want a drink or whatever with that? And he's like, yeah, you son of a bitch.
Sauerkraut's an extra 50 cents.
Well, she's like, at first she's like, let's go to a
Fine.
restaurant. He's like, hot dog. She's like, all right.
I haven't had a hot dog. All of a sudden, she's saying hot dog.
Oh yeah, can we get a hot
That was
dog?
funny.
That's like her only part of her New York accent is hot
Yeah,
dog.
yeah.
I think that's how they say it.
But then she wants to get
cab.
ice cream. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's on the
yeah.
other side of town, and he's like, she doesn't want to walk there, so they have to take the cab. He's like, oh, thanks for being a cheapskate, buddy. He's like, you're lucky you got that.
Oh yeah, no tip or whatever. I
Ends
can't
up
believe how much it was. $2.
I
That
think you
was
should be
pretty good.
kissing my ass.
He ends up stealing the money from the homeless dude outside of the ice cream
Oh.
shop. Just dipping his hand
Don't
into
mind
his
if I
cup,
do.
get some more.
And then he's got a massive sundae that they're both eating out of. Up to that point, because now it kind of goes back into the movie where she goes on about, or Mary Jane's like, oh yeah, I hate weed, and that's what my dad was selling. It wasn't hard drugs, it was just marijuana, and it ruined his life. And he's like, oh, I thought it was something worse than that.
He's like, damn, for weed? just
Yeah.
weed?
He gets nervous,
weed,
right? Yeah.
weed is the key, the gateway drug to all this other shit.
And he's like, yeah, mostly junk food.
Well, then she's like, oh, you don't smoke weed, right? Swear on it. Swear on this ice cream. He's like, what? What?
Sticks his fucking hand in it.
He goes, I swear that you're smoking hot. All right, I'm glad we got that figured out.
I swear, Mary Jane, that you got pretty eyes.
So business is booming. They have they have their new company called Mr. Nice Guy, which I think actually ended up becoming like a weed brand at some point. From what I remember seeing, it was actually called Mr.
really?
Nice Guy. Yeah. I went to was like the DC Edibles Festival, and they had like Mr. Nice Guy stuff there and everything. It was pretty cool.
That's funny, man.
But business is booming, and this is where this also feels kind of like a Chappelle Show skit. The different kinds of stoners that they end up coming across throughout their dealings and everything. So you have like the enhancer, which is like Jon Stewart, where everything weed enhances everything. Have you watched this movie on weed? Have you listened to this record
Son of a woman on weed?
Yeah.
Some getting
records
closer to his face every time.
Yeah, some records I'll give you that. Like some of those Pink Floyd albums, some of those like real crazy albums, sure. But yeah, it is funny as hell that they're calling that out. And then like who is it? Chappelle in the scene with them? They're just like, okay, yeah, sure.
I think it was Scarface.
Yeah. Motherfucker, it's gonna be $60.
Yeah, oh yeah, he just wants out of there. Yeah.
You have the scavenger, which is Snoop Dogg, and I like how they're just sitting on the stoop, and he just pops up behind the stoop, like he's just been chilling behind there the whole time.
He gives him a Jonathan Frakes right over the fucking the stoop.
Right. Yeah, smokes the whole fucking thing just about.
The whole damn thing. He's like, well, we sell this, right?
Motherfucker, yeah.
I just quit yesterday, man. I ain't smoking no more.
Classic cameo. Willie Nelson, I think, is in here too, right?
Yeah, he's like, I think the should have been there stoner. He's like, I remember when dime bags were a dime, man.
Cost a dime. You know how much condoms were back then? Hell, I don't know. We never used them.
We never bothered using them or anything.
Oh God, he's got some good one-liners for his minute on camera.
The after school special, and the I'm 40 and cool. The kid in his room smoking, and then it just pans over to his dad or whatever in the other room smoking.
Yeah. And then across town, you got grandma.
Yeah, the elderly
She's like,
stoners.
good for the glaucoma. Yeah.
Oh God,
for arthritis too.
That was one we used to say all the fucking time.
Because business is booming so much, the guys ended up deciding to quit their jobs and sell full-time, which is a pretty damn risky move, especially for 3 guys.
They made like $20,000 in like 4 days or some shit like that.
They hustling in New York. They're going all over the place.
they also like just like
Imagine.
they pull like a Goodfellas and are spending the money on shit that like luxury items instead of saving it and getting Harlan Williams out. And Thurgood's like, what the fuck? Why did you buy
the dog? The dog is just like yanking on the guy on the couch's leg.
Yeah, he buys like that.
Well, you gave Mary Jane a pearl necklace, man. He's like,
That's not what I was talking about.
Totally misunderstood that story.
Well, Jim Bauer has that fucking sand. He's like, it's Jerry Garcia.
Jerry Garcia in a pouch, around his neck.
Yeah. They're like, what? That's
Where'd you
not
get
what
this
that
from?
is.
Tommy Garcia. Who's that? Andy Garcia's brother.
Also, when Scarface quits his job, that's one of the funniest scenes. When he's sick of the abuse from the other guy yelling at the microphone. He just grabs him. He's like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're all right. Fuck you. I'm out of here.
The old guy just
Yeah, you're cool.
Yeah.
And, like Jim Brewer going to quit his job, but he ends up getting fired, and, and he's like, "Well, don't worry, I'm not gonna freak out.
Who's leaving with me?
Who's coming with me, man? Isn't that like from Jerry Maguire?
Yeah,
or something? That's what I thought. Who's coming with me, man?
Jan.
Oh yeah, and
no, I'm a lesbian.
I'm a lesbian. Yeah. Oh my god. He's like, whoa. Oh, tell me all about that. I don't understand it. And then she's like, oh, we got her to work for us. She just she got paid in weed and she was happy. She answered all the phones. She was better at it.
And she just
She's much more organized than us.
Yeah, she just lives there now, right?
In a tiny ass like 1-room apartment, it looks like 4 people are living in, 5 people, I guess, with the guy on the couch.
Yeah. And there's like shitty bunk beds in there. It's gross.
And like it's all like different colors too. Like there's like very 90s looking, like the greens and the reds and stuff painted all over the walls. But they end up getting like the dog stone too. They give the dog a token
Killer.
to mellow him out. Yeah, Killer, because he's too
Smell it.
aggressive. And even Killer's soaring around town, flying
Oh,
around,
God.
Yeah. He
happy
fucking,
as
like,
can
eats
be.
a bunch of kibble and then jumps out the window.
Oh, that
Like,
scene's hilarious
"Killer,
too.
no!"
It's kind of like a Superman shot. You're right. Yeah, when
Yeah.
the dog's in there.
Kenny did. This is where Kenny has 11 days until he has to, until Squirrel Man leaves, until Nasty Nate
Before
gets
he
his
get
hands
before
on
he
him.
gets his ring reamed.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And you only have a certain amount of scenes with Kenny in the jail. I mean, you have the one we talked about already with the fruit cocktail, where they see him in the cell. And you also have the one where he's like looking at the calendar of Nasty Nate. They have like a prison's
my God.
calendar. He's like, no, bad,
Bloody
very
jungle of
bad.
love.
Oh God, yeah, that's funny.
There's also the shower scene too when he drops the soap.
And everybody turns around, not just Nasty Nate.
Yeah.
Everybody in the shower turns around and looks at him.
Oh my God.
And you just see those feet walk up behind him when he bends down. And
He's
that's
about
when
to
you probably
bark
have
at
one of the
you.
scariest moments in the movie when you turn around and you have Tommy Chong coming at the camera full force.
Yeah.
I love when they visit Kenny again, like the follow up, and he's like, "What's taking so long? I only have 11 days. I'm gonna get fucking reamed." Like he's like freaking out. I want my virgin butthole, my deflowering. I don't want it to happen. They're like, "Oh, okay, we're working on it." He's like, "No more time. Just get me out of here."
Yeah, he's like, I think
No
we're
more
gonna
window
sell some,
love.
we're gonna sell some weed that we're getting from his work. He's like, good, great, do it now, go, go now.
Right, because they're afraid he's gonna be against it because he's so wholesome.
Thurgood has to make a delivery and ends up being to Mary Jane's apartment, and that's how she finds out that he deals.
He goes there and he's
The
like, huh,
fucker.
this is Mary Jane's apartment. And he knocks on the fucking door and he's like, you smoke weed? And he's like, no, you dumb fuck.
He like gives her a hug.
Yeah. We can finally share everything.
This is great.
She's like, "No, actually, I just found out that you've been lying to me, you asshole." He's like, "Oh." Yeah.
So Thurgood decides to finally get clean, so he can win Mary Jane back, and this is where he ends up deciding to go to rehab for marijuana addiction.
Oh God, right, yeah.
Yeah, this is where you have like the Bob Saget cameo. He's like, "Well, I'm in here because I want to get clean from the vile evils of weed or whatever." He's like, "Man, you in here for weed?
Right,
I
they
used
all
to
make
suck dick
fun of
for
him.
coke.
Boo this man.
Boo this!" He throws his hat at him.
Yeah, doesn't he get hit in the head with something? Yeah.
They throw a bunch of shit at him. You ever suck some dick for some coke?
Right.
And then you hear the guy in the back. I've seen him.
I seen him.
Oh God.
Scarface had to go deliver, and that's
Yeah.
where he meets Samson. And Samson ends up, finding out everything. They
Yeah.
tear up their apartment, kill Killer, send him a message. Similar, I know we keep talking about it, two different movies, but Dumb and Dumber, the mob people come in and kill Petey the bird. Samson
Yeah.
comes in and kills the dog. And
Very similar.
they even
Stone
try to
Chip.
lighten it up a little bit. He walks over and accidentally like kicks Killer's head.
Stepped
or
on his head.
He's like,
I
man,
didn't
come
see him
on.
there.
That was Killer. That's my
I
dog,
didn't see
man.
it.
They get the call from Samson. He's like, did you get my message?
Oh yeah.
And he's like, well, I want to speak to that Jamaican.
message?
I want to talk to that the Jamaican ass Mr. Nice Guy or whatever.
Oh,
Scarface, where did you get the idea that Mr. Nice Guy is Jamaican?
I might have said
He
it.
always sounded Jamaican in my head, B.
Yeah.
I love when he's on the phone with Samson and he's like, emergency breakthrough call.
Your sister.
Samson, this is Sheila. Mama fell down the steps.
He's like, shut up,
He's like,
bitch.
You're like fucking with this guy. He's gonna shoot them in the face.
So fucking funny, man.
And we totally skipped over Sir Smoke a Lot too, by the way. Another
Oh, yeah.
Dave Chappelle character, which is probably one of my favorites in the movie. That whole scene is hilarious.
Yeah.
Lord, if you listen, he's crying. If you're listening,
God.
help.
Help me. Doctor said I need a baggie out of me. That's just my favorite one.
He's like, hey man, I gotta get going. I'm sorry. He's like, I understand.
Green Eyes gonna miss ya.
He kisses him. You can tell it's not Dave Chappelle too. The
Oh.
guy's bigger than him that he's hugging.
I think that's also, I think they say too, why Samson also goes after him, because he's like, "Oh, you're stealing all my big clients."
Yeah.
Well, Sir Smoke-A-Lot ends up writing because Sir Smoke-A-Lot has like a music video about Samson. I want to talk to Samson, but now he does a fucking music video about Mr.
Mr.
Nice
Nice
Guy.
Guy.
And it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah. What is it? I pick up the card with the smiley face. Call him over to my place, and then he's like, "Fuck Samson!" Like right in the
Oh
middle
yeah.
of the
Hurt his bride, guys.
yeah.
Sir Smoke-A-Lot must be putting out like in the studio all the time. He's putting out tracks because that's a brand new
Oh,
track he dropped within like a couple weeks of the other
yeah.
one
Well,
that he had the music
he's
video
dropping
for.
fucking 10 grand on a pound of weed.
Oh my god. He's like, I knew I should have came loaded for you. And I like he's like in like an indoor pool that he has, but he's like in
Yeah.
a big puffer jacket and like big like a parachute pants and stuff.
Yeah, like he never
He has,
goes
like,
in the
gold-
pool.
He's got like a gold grill that says weed on it.
Yeah,
It's
with the
pretty
weed leaf on it and everything. But Tracy Morgan's like the one on the TV that introduces the music videos and everything. They sell to other people as well. You have like the Janine Garofalo's like the poet.
funny. Garoppolo. Mhm.
And she makes like reads them like one of her poems. He's like, you might need a therapist. I'm
I have killed. I've helped people kill. I've killed myself, my soul. I seek Buddha and God. And he's like, and therapy.
And then we talked about a little bit before Stephen Baldwin. He's like the MacGyver. He's like working on his car. He's like, hey man, we don't have anything to smoke this. He's like, all right, I need like a toothpick, like a pack of gum, such and such.
And a corkscrew. All right, get me an avocado, an ice pick, and a snorkel.
I feel like everybody that smokes knows one of those people
Oh,
that are
big
able to
time.
make anything into a smoking apparatus.
Oh
It was
yeah.
always usually a can, though. We did the can thing.
Oh yeah, the can or like the
Can bowl.
apples.
Yeah. I never did an apple.
Yeah, the apples. Used to make like actual like make our own bowls out of tinfoil. You put like a
Oh, yeah.
pencil and
Yeah.
wrap the tinfoil around a pencil and then just
Mhm.
twist the top up and everything.
I made it out of a pill bottle once,
Oh really?
like a prescription bottle, and like a socket and something else, and like a
Yeah.
straw or some shit.
Yeah,
Did I tell you the story about that fucking 4-foot bong that I made out of that like water light? I told the story on one of our episodes.
A long time ago. You might as well retell it.
Yeah. I don't know. It just in high school, I made like a 4-foot fucking bong out of like this. They used to have these lights that had like, it was full of water and it was just like
Yeah.
a mood light thing.
My brother used to have
and
one
it-
of those.
making it into a fucking bong. And the way you had to hit it was you had to put your whole mouth in the hole to like close it off and like really suck in to like milk the thing. It was crazy. Big hit at parties.
One of my favorites that I made was like those big tall skinny cups that you get at like amusement parks or fairs or
Oh, yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made a bong out of one of those with like a socket with
Oh,
like
awesome.
the
Yeah.
plastic piece from a pen. You stick the socket on, you pop it
Oh,
through
yeah,
the bottom. Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Well, that was the grab bong, right? You got like a
Oh,
cooler or
yeah.
a bucket or some shit. You cut like a 2-liter bottle in half,
Pushing
and you
down in the
and
water.
then you do the whole socket thing or the slide, whatever you got, and then you just milk that motherfucker with the the top of the cap, and you pull it up and uncap it and hit it,
hmm
push
Good
it down.
times. Good times. So Samson wants like half of what they're not only like 10% or 20%, he wants half of what they're bringing in, which is crazy. And so, which is like goes up to like $20,000 he wants every time or something like that.
It's ridiculous.
So they have to go and try to get as much weed as possible. So they decide to break into the lab instead of doing it how he normally does it. Where I don't know how he was getting away with forging the scripts like he used to for the doctor and getting away with all that weed.
He
I
also
think
thought
he
this.
was only
this
taking like 2 pounds at a time ish, you know.
Scarface is dressed up like a mime. He has like his
Oh.
face painted white with the black eyes and black.
Well, he's all dressed like Dead Presidents, like the movie Dead Presidents.
Oh my god! I didn't
Yeah,
even make that
that was-
connection.
I love how the
Yeah.
security guard is just like watching them in the video feed, and they're like, "Hey, you want to stop them? That's just kind of funny. Let's just watch them."
Isn't that Thurgood? Isn't that the janitor?
They think they're doing the greatest bank heist of all time. They get out there, there's like 40
Shimmying
cops.
along the walls, sneaking, jumping over the
alarm
counter.
goes off as soon as they open the door.
SWAT team's there. They're like, "Fuck." Oh,
He starts acting like a mime.
And Thurgood grabs the fucking mop and he's just whistling.
yeah. oh,
Brian
yeah.
falls from the roof because he was still climbing the ladder.
Like, yes, man.
And here's a reference if you've watched this episode and the movie dumpster episode, the cops that show up and interrogate them. One of these cops, for some reason, I thought was in Nice Dreams. Clearly, the timeline doesn't fucking match up. The brown-haired one. That's
definitely working
that's the
for-
reference between the two episodes.
They're definitely working for Stadenko, dude. These cops are fucking
Oh,
super
yeah.
incompetent.
Yeah.
How amazing would that have been if you had Stadenko as like a cameo, as Stacy Keach and Half Baked as like the chief.
He was still alive, right, at this time?
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't pass away yet. Yeah.
Well,
He
he would
should
have
have been. That would've
he
been
would have
great.
been a iguana at this point, so maybe he
Oh.
did make an appearance. Maybe we just missed him.
That would have been a super deep reference for everybody. They
Hitting
were
the,
like,
hitting the
what the
joint.
hell? There's an iguana as a chief of police. They make a deal with the cops where they will give them Samson in return for their freedom, I would only assume.
Not Kenny's freedom, mind you, just their own.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't. You're
Take
right. You're right. They were, yeah, they'll worry about that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Sean's saying, he like puts on like this Jamaican like hat and accent, and it's terrible. Like, where I come right down by the beach.
Well,
Boy.
before they go inside, they're like, "Oh, we're really nervous. We have to smoke before we go in." And they smoke so much, they hotbox the car, and the fucking agents are
Yes.
blasted out of their minds.
Laughing hysterically, and like their code word is like abracadabra. They keep saying it like abracadabra.
Right, because they
Well,
get
they're
Samson
like, we
doing.
want to buy some cocaine, man.
some of
and
that
some
nose
heroin,
candy.
man,
Oh, you want some candy?
and it makes you feel dandy.
Right, yeah, they keep trying to get him to say cocaine or heroin, but he won't. Then they just keep repeating abracadabra over and over. And he's like, "Why do you keep saying that? Wait, checking for a wire." He's like, "Oh."
I love how Samson is like this is a fucking like Rudy Ray Moore villain straight out of the 70s.
100%.
He's like where he's like a drug dealer pimp guy, but he has like all these like ninja women around him, which is pretty great.
And he's like in a
They all have
wheelchair
nunchucks
too.
and swords and shit.
Right. Oh God, the wheelchair, the fake out. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has like these ninja
Everybody's
women that
freaking in
proceed to
some way.
fight with everybody until a titty pops out, and then everybody stops fighting. And he's like, "Oh, now that's a titty."
That's a fully, man.
And it's funny because like
Somebody's
everybody's yeah, Samson's like, "Ah!" It's like his
Look
it's his
away.
women.
Yeah.
His virgin eyes.
And I believe they straight up kill this one woman because they throw a piranha at her and it chomps on her neck.
Oh, she gets it, yeah.
So one of these ladies die amidst the scuffle, as well as a titty pops out. And then who better to save the day than Jerry Garcia himself? He ends up throwing his pouch down, and everybody thinks he's a fool until Jerry Garcia
Jerry.
himself comes out.
With
Like
the power
Jerry
of music.
Garcia is playing in my head.
Dude, he fucking El Kabongs Samson right up the dome with his fucking guitar. Thank you, Jerry. No problem, Brian.
He's like, no way. That is Jerry Garcia.
Into his fucking pouch.
Oh yeah, right back in there like a genie.
The day is saved. They make a deal to get themselves out, and also to get Kenny out as well. Somehow they did finagle that one.
I think they get out and then they sell the rest of the weed and then get the money and then get him out. If that's correct.
You're right. They might have made a deal for themselves and then just continue to sell weed and just until
Yeah, because
They
those cops, they never
learn
show
nothing.
up.
they learn
No.
nothing from this movie.
Right, exactly. Like the cops are so stoned, they never even show up. They're just like kind of let him go. Like, all right, I guess it worked out. Or they all show up at the end, like trying to take the
No,
glory.
they come in and they bust Samson, but they're fucking high off their ass.
Yeah,
Right,
they're
yeah.
laughing and giggling the whole time.
They read like a fucking letter that Thurgood like gave to them to give to Mary Jane.
Oh,
just
to
in
give
case
to
he
Mary
died.
Jane. That's why they're laughing so much.
In case he died, yeah. He's like, why'd you read it? Assholes.
They do end up getting free. They end up getting Kenny out of jail, even though we don't really get to see anything else with Kenny in the jail. We don't get to see like what happens with Tommy Chong leaving or what he had to do if he was even in there while Tommy Chong was gone. Who knows? We don't really get much of that story. We just know that he's back with his friends. Thurgood ends up meeting up with Mary Jane on the bridge, and they end up trying to get back together. Just to prove that he's good. He throws that last joint off the bridge. And
But it like talks to him. I love that. He's like, "Come on, smoke me, Thurgood." And he's
Well,
like,
it's
"Oh,
Mary-
mate." And he's
it's like it's a woman in like a joint costume.
I was gonna say, is that actually Mary Jane? Is that the joke, or am I overthinking that one?
a personification.
But
It
yeah.
was the same actress, yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, he ends up throwing the joint off the bridge into the water. That way he can be with Mary Jane, because the only thing better than weed is pussy.
Yeah. Oh, well, he's got me there. Yeah.
He did basically say that earlier in the film, so it was kind of He called
It
it.
does end happily. He's with Mary Jane, even though it seems like he quits weed at that point. So I don't know how his friendships are going to work with his other buddies who still smoke all the time, or even how long that's going to last if he does even stay
Wow.
sober for a while.
Sorry, fellas. I'm out on the rent. I'm moving in with Mary Jane.
Yep, sorry, you're on. Well, they got the girl there from the record store. Maybe she'll pay rent
Oh,
now.
yeah, the store replacement, right?
And the
And
guy on the
maybe-
couch, who they find out nobody actually knows, just some random guy living there. Another one of the funniest scenes. He's like, and he basically
I thought he was your
distracts them.
friend.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, he's like, I'm not the one you need to be focused on right now. Like, you guys got bigger problems at hand. You guys got to get Kenny free.
But you're right, Wyatt. Like, how much longer after the movie does he really stay with her? Does he fuck her for 6 more months and then he can't take it? He's got to hit the old bull boy, or is he actually done for good? We'll never know.
The original ending was he was gonna abandon Mary Jane at the very last minute there on the bridge and jump off the bridge into the water after the joint that he threw.
Ah, that would have been better.
That'd be pretty good.
Apparently, nobody really liked that ending. That's the ending they wanted to go with, but it didn't test well. The studios didn't like it. They wanted a more happy ending.
Because it would have been funny depending on how they did it, right? Like if he caught it midair and like lit it midair and like pulled it and then like hit the water or something like that would have been.
Yeah, because if it would have hit the water, it's done for at that point. You can't.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not gonna be able to smoke. Yeah, I can just
Right.
imagine him like halfway jumping off the bridge, like holding onto the railing or whatever, having an argument while he's hitting it. Like, no, you can't do this. I can't do it.
Yeah, the only
It's all
guy
slow-mo.
the only guy I've ever seen hit a joint that's been in a fucking pool is Jack Black, and I still know what he did last summer when he's like got those joints and he's like dipping
Oh
them
my
in there with the dreads. It's like you can't even light that shit, Jack.
But yeah, that is half baked. Everything comes out good at the end. They get Kenny out. Nobody's arrested. He ends up with the. I mean, does have to quit smoking weed to be with Mary Jane, but he ends up with Mary Jane, the love of his life. You would only assume. So I mean, it's a happy ending.
Trade-off.
Yeah, it's a good trade-off. So normally at the end of these reviews, I do a buy it, rent it, or miss it. What would you guys give the half baked?
It's definitely a buy it. I mean, do we even need to say it? I feel like we just talked highly of this the entire time. I mean, unless just the humor is not up your alley, maybe it is also a generational thing on some level. Like some of those jokes as I'm watching, I'm like, well, it's still funny, but I could see maybe some people being turned off of a thing here or there. But like 95% of this is fucking hilarious regardless. So I don't know. If you haven't seen this one, unless you're just so anti-marijuana, then I guess that's another edge case. But if you're the real life Mary Jane character, but yeah, if you like comedy and if you like stoner comedies, you're in for a fucking treat. You're in for a good bong rip, let's say, that's gonna get you fucked up for a while, and you're gonna be thinking about it. You're gonna be quoting it, like Joe was saying, for a long time.
This is definitely a buy it, dude. We talked about this on the Up in Smoke episode, and I feel like this falls into the same category as Up in Smoke does, especially for like generational resurgence and revisiting.
Yeah.
Like any coming of age kids that are getting into recreational marijuana use are going to be watching this fucking movie, no matter what. I feel like it's just one of the staples, and it's also fucking funny as hell. I think it's maybe not one of the greatest comedies of the '90s, but damn good, especially in the ass end there. And it was great to come back to and rewatch. And I hadn't seen it since like high school, so it was fun to watch. And it was funny, and everything aged real nice, like a fine wine, if you will. Smoke like that, like some like that Acapulco Gold, dude.
The Acapulco Gold or the Tide Stick, man.
The Tide Stick better
Oh.
than
Tied to the
That's
stick.
Labrador for sure. Yeah.
Oh, now you're talking.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. This is definitely a buy it. This is definitely up there as one of the better, if not one of the best, stoner movies out there. It definitely holds up all these years later. It's one of the most quotable movies out of there. I mean, even some of the stuff that you wouldn't find quotable, like Yabba Zabba, you're my only friend, and he's the huge bite of Yabba Zabba that he takes at the beginning.
Yeah.
But even like the memes that have come out of it, like the "boo this man" or the
Yeah.
him quitting the restaurant, the fuck you, like that. Though even if the movie doesn't live on through all time, those scenes or those moments that are memed will live on for the rest of the time at this point.
Absolutely.
I don't really think that there's not much else to be said about Half Baked. If you haven't seen it, you definitely need to see it, probably as stoned as possible, especially coming up with 420 here. You break out the good and watch some Half Baked and some Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke and possibly Nice Dreams if you're into that sort of thing. You're gonna have to go watch that review over on Movie Dumpster though to check.
You gotta
Exactly.
watch the Nice Dreams one. Maybe you'll change your mind. If I had to recommend a 420 stack, it would be Half Baked, Pineapple Express, and Up in Smoke. I think those are sweet hits from each of the generational like stoner movies, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
You have
that is a good
you have
one.
like a 70s, 80s, and then a 90s, and then and then an aughts. You know what I mean?
That is a good idea. I would also it's hard. I would have to throw Dazed and Confused in with mine just because how much I love that movie too.
I think it's a good movie, but I don't know if I would consider that a stoner like Detroit Rock City's more of a stoner
Yeah,
comedy.
I understand what you mean. It's
Yeah.
yeah, 'cause it's not based around smoking or being stoned or anything
Right,
like
right.
that. Yeah.
I mean, I already mentioned earlier, but I would agree with pretty much exactly what Joe said. Again, listen to that the movie dumpster episode on Nice Dreams. We talk about this a little bit in that, but yeah, Harold and Kumar is the other one I would add. I mean, I think all three of
Yeah.
those movies are funny, but especially that first one
Sure.
is like quintessential. I mean, the second one actually has a lot of prison jokes. Speaking of, when they
Yeah.
go to Guantanamo,
Guantanamo Bay.
yeah, also kind of a hilarious sequel, one of the better comedy sequels. But yeah, definitely that first Harold and Kumar, just on the quest to get the fucking White Castle. We've all been there, even if you don't know what White Castle is. That burger joint, that place you want to get fucking wasted and eat at. It's a fun movie.
Why don't you guys tell everybody where they can find Movie Dumpster at?
Yeah, man. We're on all the social media at Movie Dumpster. You can visit us at moviedumpsterpodcast.com. We got a store and schedule there of places we're going to be. We're on YouTube if you want to watch the show. We're on all your favorite podcast apps if you want to listen to the show. We got a Patreon. What else we got, Sean?
Yeah, patreon.com/movie dumpster, where we have stuff like commentary tracks. We do live watch alongs with movies with anyone that's signed up. We also have it over on YouTube, the YouTube membership program. We have physical items over on Patreon if you were to sign up for like t-shirts and glow in the dark pins. You don't get that on YouTube, but it's an option if people don't want to leave the platform. Other than that, those are kind of the big bullet points outside of joining UY for Half Baked and then you coming on over to the dumpster side for Nice Dreams. I guess the
Definitely
only
check out that Nice Dreams episode.
Definitely. That was a
We-
great time.
absolutely. I'm still thinking about it, honestly. But coming up, we got at least one more episode coming very soon with a friend of yours, also, I believe, Tony from Hack the Movies.
Yeah.
Another
Mhm.
kind of two-part episode where we're going to be covering Legend. And on Tony's
nice.
show, Joe, I don't know if you want to speak more to this because you're on the episode, but Joe and Johanna are over on Tony's show to talk about, I think, the theatrical. And on
Theatrical version of Legend, yeah.
on MD, we did the directors, and I only watched the directors. I still got to go back and see that theatrical, but I guess see the episode to see why I may or may not go back to that theatrical.
Which one's better, the theatrical or the director's cut? We'll find out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'll have all your guys' links here down in the description below. So make sure to check all those links out. Check out the Movie Dumpster guys and all their content. You guys have a lot of great stuff out there. I've been a fan of you guys for quite a while now. And I just want to thank you guys so
Thank
much for coming on the show and talking about Half Baked and just in general hanging out.
Always a pleasure, dude. And I just want to say thanks again for coming on our show last week. Was it last week at this point? Oh my God. It was last weekend? Yeah.
Well, I think technically these are coming out
Look, it's
around
many
the
days,
same
dude.
time, but yeah, the filming distances, yes, it's always a pleasure, man.
Of course, check out Movie Dumpster. And as always, make sure to like, share, and subscribe here. Check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Cinema Trip Reviews. Also, drop in and leave us a good review wherever you get your podcast. It really helps us get the show out there to a lot more people. Once again, thank you so much, guys, for coming on the show. I had a great time. And I'll see everybody next time.